Oh,
It
for
was funny
sure.
because we met. Man, sorry, I'm talking about a future is bright, but
Now you're completely overexposed. I can't even. All I see is just a big white. I can't even see any facial expression or any.
we got to get Drew a cameo in the show. Come on now,
Yes, yes.
he's
Come
long
on,
overdue.
guys. They give me the call. I'm saying yes. Like, I will drop
Yes.
anything that I gotta do. I'm about to tell you the coolest thing ever.
Welcoming Drew, the Cobra Kai Kid, onto the Poly Tools Creator Spotlight Show. Thank you for joining me.
Dustin, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be talking to you. Thank you.
I'm excited to have you on and talk to you as well. Every time I do the intro, I still feel like I messed something up a little bit there, but it's just
No,
one
that
of those
was
things where
perfect.
we'll get into it, and I'm honestly just eager to just kind of dive right in. The way I like to break the ice is just to have you share something about yourself that no one knows about you.
Ooh, that no one knows about me. I would say one thing that people may not know is that I'm a big fan of musicals. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I feel like, Cobra Kai, if you look at Cobra Kai is nothing like a musical. So it's just like a completely different genre. Very like cheesy, happy musicals. I
Right.
love those. Some people may know that if you've watched some of my I have certain music videos on my
Yes.
channel, but those are like the more niched videos that like if you're a real fan, you'll know that, but if you're just a general fan, you may not know that. But yeah, musicals for sure.
I saw you on the Studio Upgrade interview too, and they tried to get you to sing for a split second there. They put you on the spot.
I know, I know. I was a little nervous. It kind of caught me off guard, but I forgot what we ended up singing. But it was good. It was
It was
fun.
like Sinatra or something like that, I think.
Oh yeah, fly me
Yeah,
to the
no.
moon.
It's funny. I did karaoke for the last 10 years, and the first time I ever sang in front of people, my leg was shaking. I was so nervous, and so I
Oh
get it
my
when it comes
god.
to people putting you on the spots. And so my fitness
Yeah.
classes would try to do that the same way the guy did on the show. It would put me on the spot, and I'm like, I'm so nervous. I don't want to sing in front of people, and yet I do it all the time at karaoke. But putting it out of that karaoke context, it makes you scared. And I mean, you were in a middle of a convention center with people walking all the way around, a whole bunch of people around you too. It's like I get it. Like, and here's the deal: you managed to still do it though.
I did. I think he started singing and it
Yeah.
gave me a little confidence. But yeah, it's I think when you're put on the spot like that, it's like, oh wait, I wasn't prepared. And also, I don't know, sometimes singing for one person or two people is a little more intimidating than singing for 50 people at an open mic. I don't know.
Yeah, it really is. And I think even now, like I'm in my late 20s, you're in your early 20s, from what I recall. I still have a hard time. Like if someone tells me to sing, I'm like, I don't know. And yet I'll sing in front of a crowd, no problem at all. So it's just one of those things where it
Yeah.
took me a while to get used to that, and I think I'm still getting used to the in-person thing. So maybe you just need a few years before you get more comfortable with it. You already have a head start on me, anyways.
Well, I'm sure you're a great singer. We gotta jam out
Yeah,
sometime.
definitely. I'll
What are
go
we singing?
to.
Sinatra? Is that what we're gonna go to, or
So
what?
before I get into the question here, just fun fact: I sang crooners in general so much that they wrote my name in the Sinatra section of the karaoke book.
Oh my!
Yeah, so I
Wow,
feel you on that one. There. Yeah.
that's awesome. I like that.
So I have you on here, Drew, because of all the different channels you've done and the interesting kind of content you make. And so I wanted to ask you, what got you started as a content creator?
I started creating content probably at around age 10.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so very, very early on, I was doing all different things. I was in my old apartment. I had I was obsessed with Legos. So I had a bunch of Legos and I would do like Lego animations and I would like
Mm-hmm.
voice the characters. And for me, it was like a way of telling stories that I couldn't actually do in real life because I love storytelling and movies and shows. And like I was like, I don't have a huge cast. I don't have this. So I did these Lego animations. It was super fun. I did it for
Mm-hmm.
a while and I really enjoyed it. Me and my one friend, we would do these like comedy skits and literally we would just film me, him, tripod. And it was
Yeah.
just like bizarre, but in the best way, some of the best memories. And then that passion just kind of evolved and evolved and evolved. And To this day, I'm still doing it, and I absolutely
Yeah.
love it. So that's pretty much where the journey started, the YouTube journey, and then it evolved into multiple channels.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because I remember playing with Legos growing up and sharing those little stories. Always a mixture of like Zelda or Star Wars or something like that. But
Yeah,
I just never recorded mine. I wish I had like joined up with you, kind of thing, where it's like the same ideas. Like I feel like there's a lot of stories you can create with something like Lego. That's why like Fortnite went with Lego recently too. They had the
mm,
whole Lego Fortnite because there's so many things you can do with that world of just being able to build anything you want and all the creativity you can put into that.
for sure. There was a television show called Total Drama Island. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, I remember that show.
Yeah. So I had a series called Total Drama Lego where I
Oh,
made my
nice.
own contestants and they were doing their own stuff. I'm actually really proud of it. It was actually
Yeah.
really I spent like a lot of time on it, and the production level I remember just kept getting more intense, and then I
Oh
just
no.
like I was really investing so much into it, and even though I'm not doing it anymore, it still taught me
Yeah.
a lot. And those are like fond memories that kind of led me to where I am now. So
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy you sharing the memory part of that because it is part of the journey. It is part of the thing that you learn from. It's interesting too because to become a creator, a lot of the big people like Roberto Blake, they always talk about putting in 100 reps. Doesn't matter if you're a blogger, video, or podcaster. It's like just putting those 100 reps. Your first 15 or 20 are gonna kind of suck, kind of thing, just because you're still learning how to record or learning how to make lighting or videos or video editing, and those are the skills you get over time. And you manage to have those 100 reps with that early channel with something you were very passionate about, so you push through, you push past the breaking points.
for sure. And also I feel like nothing's ever a waste of time. Even if
Yeah.
you have videos that don't do well view wise, like it's not you shouldn't look at it like, oh, I wasted my time or those were for nothing. Everything's a learning experience.
Yeah.
So you're always getting better. And also, who cares if it doesn't do well view wise? That, sometimes it's just like the algorithm not really
Yeah.
responding. Like, I'll make videos on my Cobra Kai channel that I'm really, really proud of. And I'll spend so much time and I'm like, this is the best quality. Sometimes they'll blow up and sometimes they won't, and sometimes other videos will. I'm like, how does this make sense? And sometimes that's just what it is. But then when people do find it, like even if it's a smaller audience, people will notice the quality. So yeah, it's all about just like being proud of everything that you do. And if you love it, if you're passionate about it,
That's what
that's
matters. Yeah.
at the end of the day, yeah, it's all that matters.
Well, and like you said too, it could have been the algorithm at that point in time. It could have been the thumbnail, the title. Like each one of those little breaking points could have been the reason why it flopped or something like that.
Exactly, because I mean, when you want to grow on YouTube, sometimes it goes beyond just making a good video and being creative. You
Yeah.
have to, as you mentioned, have a good thumbnail, have a good title, and that's something I've learned over time. That's something I'm still learning, and I think that's something no one can ever perfect. I don't think you can
Mhm.
ever perfect it because we're in a world where things are constantly changing and evolving. And if you're not changing and evolving with it, you'll just get stuck
Yeah.
in with the past trends or whatever. You kind of always have to keep going. Like, for example, TikTok is
Yeah.
just something that's really huge right now. And I have never known anything about TikTok. I've never done that really. And even though that's not where my passion lies, is those vertical short videos, I'm more into the like horizontal long form storytelling. Um,
Yeah.
Not those quick cuts. I do have to be aware of it because that is what people are watching. So, you know, maybe striking a little balance of making those long form videos, and then how can I maybe split those up and get those little vertical videos that people like, even if I'm not too familiar, like how just kind of staying in the loop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Couple points to jump off of there. You said no one can really get close to perfecting a thumbnail. I think the closest person would probably be like Mr. Beast. He spends like $10,000 on a thumbnail to make sure it's just right.
What?
Yeah, he spends upward of way too much time, way too much money. And the thing is,
Oh
that
my.
works for his content. For your content or even my content, I don't think that like sure some of the 3 point rule where you have like just three items on the thumbnail and nice and big and bold. Some of those lessons we can take with our stuff too, but for the most part, like we really don't need to copy that level of dedication to the thumbnail. And then the other point is you and I both are very long form centric. I think that's like we get along on that because, like you said, you want that storytelling. You want to be able to express all the ideas. I've met a lot of people who start up on like Vine, for example, let alone TikTok. I was
Mm.
on Vine back in the day, like,
Oh my god, yeah, I
but I
remember that.
wasn't popular. I was like,
Well, I don't
I
remember you, but I remember
yeah,
Vine. I remember.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Imagine,
it
wait,
was
I
just like,
remember you on Vine.
yeah, that'd be funny. I mean, I only made like maybe a couple dozen videos, but the point is, I made videos on there, and I had that experience way early on, and so it did help teach me a little bit for TikTok when TikTok came out, or when I joined, it was Musically. And the point is, like, some people only do short form, some people only do long form, and then eventually you learn that you need to do both. Sometimes there's also live streams. I've seen you do a lot of live streams on your channels, which is good. You actually probably have more experience with live streams than I do, and it's one of those things where that's something that I need to work towards. But I've also spent more time with short form. There's a balance, is what I'm trying to say. When you're a creator, you start off with one, you expand to another one, and eventually you can do the third and get good at all three, but it takes time.
Oh, for sure. And especially when we first start off, usually it's one person. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it by yourself. I'm still doing it by myself. And are you doing everything by yourself too?
Well, literally just this month, I hired an editor for my long form video because that
Nice.
was my biggest bottleneck. I don't like editing,
Yeah.
and it's one of the few things that actually gets me to the point where it delays my content production, and it's been my biggest weakness as a creator.
I appreciate you being open and honest about that.
Yeah.
That's really cool of you because that's something that I've started to realize recently as well. Is editing has probably been the biggest thing that has delayed me. Um, especially when you want your content to be really good, and it's very
Mm-hmm.
difficult, like to do everything. You
Yeah.
know, to be in front of the camera, to talk, to put it all out there, and then you got to edit all of it. And editing is so difficult because if you really want something to be good, like, I have, like, right now I'm working on this, like, it's probably going to be about 15 to 20 minutes, this video, and there's like cuts and edits every like freaking like second.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, this is rough, but
Very fast paced.
yeah, very fast paced, and that's kind of what the today's
Yeah.
audience
Attention
wants.
span, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think, but there's a balance to it, though. There's a balance. I guess it depends, like, what you're going for. Even though, like, I know people say on TikTok, like, people have like a 1 second attention span. You got to grab them right away. But like, you don't want it to, like, for long form storytelling, you don't want it to affect the flow or the pace of it or the
Mm-hmm.
quality of it, just by throwing in a bunch of quick cuts and making it really like action fast. That doesn't necessarily mean it's good. Sometimes you need a little breather. Maybe that's just like my movie brain talking. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. I mean, like with this, I do short form. I say short as or medium, I guess you could say 15 to 20 minutes. But I have more interviews, I guess, at this point than I do my short video now. And with these interviews, the only cuts I'm going to be really doing is when we say or and
Yeah.
like any long pauses like that, for example. And so maybe not since I use that as an example, but if we had a long pause like that, those are the few cuts I'll do. Generally, these long form interviews don't have that many cuts versus like a 15-minute video where you're cutting almost every other sentence, so to speak.
100%. That's for my interviews. I follow the same formula where I do interviews for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Like my interviews are pretty long, and I just pretty much leave us two talking because it just feels real. It's just a conversation. I don't want fancy edits because I don't want to distract from the story. Like, you're listening to this one person talk, and I'm listening to them talk. But then, yeah, when you get to those 15-minute, 10-minute videos, I mean, I've made a whole bunch of different things. I've made short films where like you edit to tell a story, but I've also made films, or not films, but videos where I'm talking to the camera about a certain subject, a Cobra
Mm-hmm.
Kai trailer. And it's really difficult because I'm like, okay, so in the trailer, we have this person talking to this person. And anytime I say anything, I have to cut to that thing. I have to go
Mm-hmm.
online, grab the footage, put it on, time it out, get the music, overlay it, match it, and it's like all this work for like 3 seconds of a 15-minute video,
Yeah.
and it takes a long time. It takes a lot of energy. And by the time you're done doing it, it's like, okay, now you got to do the next video. And it's like kind of a process. So it's all about like a routine and doing it in like a healthy way
Yeah.
too, I
You don't want
feel.
to burn out. Yeah.
Have you ever experienced burnout?
I have. I was gonna bring it up at some point. I think that at the end of 2017, I burned out,
Mm,
and part of the issue is in my head. I think I should be at a certain place, and because of the actions I've taken or not taken, I'm not where my head thinks I need to be. I will say, in an ironic twist, in 2020, I was planning on doing a whole bunch of my solo content, but then everyone got stuck at home, so I pivoted and focused purely on interviews. I think I did
mm.
like 60 interviews in the span of like May to December of 2020. And I also did about 30 guest appearances myself. So I was back to back meetings every week. And because of that, from 2020 to about 2023, I was doing tons and tons of interviews. I actually barely made any of my solo videos at all, solo content. And so I felt like I got more and more behind. And last year I got caught up quite a bit, but I actually lost 3 months of progress for various reasons. And so I still wasn't quite where I wanted to be by the beginning of this year. The point is, I think actually, ironically, it got me farther along because I got to network with cool people like you. I got to do a lot more experience really quickly. I made a lot more content, and actually, so something I was going to mention earlier, where you mentioned like how you don't want to do shorts. You don't have to have fast-paced cuts because that's how some people do their shorts, but other people do clips of your interviews. You actually could probably even make clips of your solo content as well, and get at least 2 or 3 per video, and use those as shorts, TikToks, and reels. Use an Opus clip. but
Yeah.
but it's one of those things where tools like Opus Clip comes out, and that's part of the reason why I made this channel actually, because there was all these really cool tools that came out that not enough people were talking about, especially a year ago when I first started making content around tools like this. And it's one of those things where it makes me also want to ask someone like you, like, what tools do you use for creation or repurposing, Drew?
Yeah. So,
Like video
um,
editor, for example, too.
yeah. So, I mean, I know this may be like the simple answer, but I use iMovie.
Mm,
I have tried Premiere, and sometimes I work with it. I try to work with it. I've used it in school, but I feel more proficient in iMovie, and I know there's a lot more features in like the other platforms, but yeah, editing is not really my strong suit, and the technology side of it. So I've kind of developed a routine with how I edit, so it
mm-hmm.
works for what I do. I'd love to, learn more in the future and maybe go Premiere full time. But for now, what I do, I'm okay with it.
Well, before we get into more tools, I kind of want to mention there is the idea of CapCut too. I'm not a big fan of CapCut, but if you like iMovie, you might like the simplicity of CapCut.
I I have it on my phone, the one that
Yeah.
you make the little shorts, right?
Well, I was thinking the desktop version in particular.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
I
cool.
personally use DaVinci Resolve, which is free. It's a bit complicated like Premiere because it is professional level like that, but it's free. And then there's actually some AI plugins for Premiere too that might help you just
Mm,
do some of the cuts, for example,
mm.
or duplicate
I,
takes too.
yeah, I've never played around with those AI cuts, but I was learning about that at NAB, which
Yeah.
is really interesting. That's like a whole nother world for me. Whew. And that's where, that's where it gets into content creator slash editor slash
Yeah.
business person. It's like when you have a YouTube channel, you kind of do all of it and you don't even realize like
Yeah.
you got to be really well rounded.
Yeah. Speaking of which, my other show is about being a polymath, being polymathic, doing many different things. And I just realized actually we're using Wave Room right now to get a little meta using the tool. And we're actually using the meeting room for my other show. I didn't even realize that. I should have made it
Oh,
more. So,
shoot.
so the Polymath Podcast is in the corner there, which is what my other show is called. And it's about, wearing all those different hats.
Yeah. So what were you talking about there? Like just all the different positions that you were doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where polymathy is being like a multi-expert, and I think I just brought it up because I like to be a little bit meta on this show. So like, what
Yeah.
tools are we using, or what are the strategies, or like for example, the intro. I keep changing a little bit of the flow, how the intro goes, And so sometimes it throws myself off when I'm doing the intro because I'm trying to do it off the cuff, like without looking at it, but looking at
Hmm.
you. So trying to remember what's on there. And so I'll make small mistakes and I'll call that out verbally. I'll call myself out essentially because I want people to experience like, hey, I'm a creator. I'm a normal person too. I'm not going to be super perfect, and that's okay. It's still going to come out. I'm still going to make this content. I'm not going to cut out that issue or something like that.
For sure. And honestly, I enjoy watching creators who there's some creators who make videos and the videos are so perfect. Their cuts are so perfect. Their timing is so perfect. And it's a great video, but sometimes I enjoy watching the creators that like don't have the most perfect editing and they kind of mess
Yeah.
up and say and like because it just feels real and it's like I'm there for this person and what they have to say and it doesn't matter if their content is not so sharp and so
Yeah.
clean.
Precise.
It's about what they're doing and what they're saying.
I mean, when I would do my editing for my other show, for example, I realized about halfway through all my interviews, so about 60 interviews in, that I was getting a little too overzealous with the editing. I was cutting out too many ums and
Yeah.
uhs. And what happened was I was in like I was cutting out all 100% of all the ums and uhs. And at some
Uh,
points, you'll be in the middle of a conversation saying and then going straight into the next word, just like that. And by cutting out that in the middle, it actually threw off those words. That sentence felt bad. It felt wrong because I over edited it. And so I learned
hmm.
that like I needed to only cut out 80% of it. I don't want to just make an interview and not edit it. I want to do live streams so I can like get away with not having to edit. You know what I mean? Like just do if we did
Yeah.
this live, I wouldn't have to edit it. But there's intros. So what I do with my interviews, for example, is I put 3 highlights of what you say from the interview at the front of it, something that seems interesting to kind of grab that attention. Because yes, it's long form, but people still might leave in the first 15, 30 seconds. So let's bring out some cool things you say in the call. Like I don't have any examples on top of my head, but let's say you say something about Karate Kid, or you say something
I'm
about
about to tell you the coolest thing ever. And then
and then
like
boom.
and then that's it. Like
Yeah,
you take that and then it's like, welcome to the interview. And then you gotta watch the whole thing to find out what I was gonna say.
that is exactly it. And so, Darren, you know what to do. And so, Darren's the editor. It's interesting because
There you
things
go.
like that, because yes, you did it as a joke, but I'm probably going to use that. And it's interesting. I had a guest on my other show where they had a board from Back to the Future, and it was signed by like 3 of the actors. And I'm like, how did you manage that? And the person was like, I'm Chris Dancy. And it was just so confident and
Yeah.
very swaggerful that I was like, I'm gonna put that at the front. And it made a very interesting highlight for the people to come into the interview. And it's things like that where it just randomly talked about. I saw it in the back of their room, like it was in the back wall. It's like, hey, what's that about? And it just naturally flowed. Yeah, that's the end
Yeah.
of the idea, but you get there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and I've done that in my videos and it seems to work all the time where you know, if like I'm reacting to a clip or if I'm talking about some big news, guys, we have some huge news, and then I
Mm-hmm.
go right into my intro. But yeah, just to grab them right from the start, even though we were talking about long form, you and I both being a fan of long form and the movie style, but yeah, it is a little different. Like with videos, like you still can do those long form, but like when you go to the movie theater, right? You're there. So
Mm-hmm.
if YouTube was like the movies, like if we had actual movies on YouTube, like I don't know if people would have their attention grabbed in the first 30 seconds of like company credits and like like
Yeah,
Sony pictures. It's like it's boring and it's not, it doesn't captivate you. With YouTube, you could tell your story, tell your movie, whatever you got to do, but to have that opening 10 seconds of maybe taking something that's really really fun in the video. And I'm working on a really fun video right now. I'm making sure I want to edit everything, see what's really cool about it, put that at the beginning and really grab the audience so they're like, oh, I need to see
yeah.
this whole thing.
It's all. I actually learned it from gaming videos. A lot of big podcasts have now copied it. When I started doing it, it was still a little bit kind of fresh. But it's
Yeah.
interesting to think about how like Dream did a lot of Minecraft videos. I never watched Dream, but I remember watching a video about how Dream makes his videos.
Hmm.
And in the Minecraft video, he might be falling down a hidden hole that he didn't know was there, and then he falls and he has like one heart left, and then there's like a monster right around the corner, and then there's other situations where he's running away from a zombie, or I don't remember, but like the point is he's like near death, and it's so
Yeah.
intense and so suspenseful. And there's like 3 highlights in the beginning, and I realized, oh, that could be applied to other types of content too, not just for gaming.
Mm, it's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've heard of him. He's a big time Minecraft YouTuber, gaming YouTuber, right?
from what I understand, yeah.
Oh, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
I was never big on Minecraft, but I am interested
Yeah,
in gaming.
me too. Me too.
So
Yeah.
I don't think you've done much in the way of blogging or podcasting, from what I can tell. So I guess I kind of get the idea what this answer is going to be, but maybe I could be wrong. Out of the 3 pillar content, written, audio, and video, what's your favorite to make? After 1,000 videos, I might have an idea, but
Yeah, video for sure. But the thing is, all of those things, like the written and the audio, go into the video. So I don't usually write a script for a video. I know some people do, and I find that really impressive. And I think sometimes writing a script can make the content better. For me, I just go off what I'm feeling, what I'm saying, and then I'll edit it to sound nice. But definitely, if I'm making like a short film, I'll write a script, and then yeah, audio. I've always thought about like maybe doing like audio podcasts, but then I'm like, I have a YouTube channel, like might as well just like throw the video in there too. And
I'll think about
I,
like cutting out your video into a podcast too, for example.
yeah, I've always wanted to do podcasts. I've always wanted like just talking about life or
Mhm.
movies or whatever, just a general podcast to talk about things. So that's been a dream of mine. Probably would need like a good co-host for that because it'd be kind of tough to talk to yourself. Hello, hello. Oh, how are you? I'm good. How are you?
I mean,
Like
I've done it, so I get it.
I've done it too. I've done it too. I you're not gonna believe this, but I did before Cobra Kai season 5 came out, I did an 8.5 hour live stream by myself. No one else joined.
Brutal.
And who am I talking to? Like sure we got the chat, but ultimately like I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to the camera. I'm like, but you know what though? It was the most fun I've ever had. I
Yeah,
absolutely loved it.
it was a good challenge.
I wasn't trying to. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I didn't like go into it being like, yeah, I'm gonna go live for 8.5 hours. It kind of just happened that way. And sometimes those are sometimes the best experiences come when
yeah,
you're not expecting it. Because I think if I had said I'm going to go live for 8.5 hours, I would have said no way. I would have been drained at the hour mark just
hmm
with that thought. But by going in with like no expectations, no just free flow, it just sometimes the best stuff comes that way. It's like a
yeah.
bit of both. It's preparation and just letting the flow come to you.
So Harris Heller, who's a famous streamer, he had a very cool. I don't know if the video is on it particularly, but he was talking about doing preparing your live streams. So even if you're playing a game or doing a live stream like we do, where it's more interviews or content focused, he says have 3 bullet points, or like have bullet points of certain things you want to have from your video. So you have this live stream and you have 3 different sections that you're talking about a certain topic, and then you can go ahead and cut out those sections later on as a separate VOD or separate video. And that's how I make my solo videos, for example. I have certain bullet points. I used to do kind of what you're talking about, like scripting, but it was one of those things where it didn't feel natural, and I kept looking at the screen the whole time, like looking, and it looked bad. It didn't. It felt robotic. And like you, I realized, okay, I need to go more off the cuff.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't say I do that all the time, but I have done it certain times where I will do live streams. I have this weekly show actually on my Cobra Kai Kid YouTube channel called the Cobra
Mhm.
Kai Kid Show every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Shout out. And basically, I will basically recap the news of the week.
Mhm.
And I'll have like however many topics, 3 to 4 to 5 topics, and depending on the what I'm discussing, like going into it, I'm like, okay, this could be a good individual video, but then I'll kind of see how I do it. And I'm like, if I feel good about how I did it in the live, I'm like, yeah, like let me clip that out. There's a lot of good material there. If not, I'll be like, I'll record something separate, or I'll just be like, we'll just leave that in the live stream. I'll only
Mhm.
take it if I really feel like it's of good quality for an individual video, because sometimes I might want to just do it in a non-live setting where I can do can really think out my thoughts more and can maybe elaborate more. It's definitely a useful tool, but you do need to keep it captivating, because on a live stream, usually it'll just be me and like maybe an article or something or a
Mhm.
picture. Um, but if I were to clip that and make it into a separate video, I would want to add some overlays to it, add some cuts just to keep it engaging rather than just
Right.
splicing that one little clip from the live stream and just leaving it like that.
Well, I mean, for most people, I don't think he was saying that you would just take it out as is. It's more of like, okay, then you have that video recorded, and then you could edit it from there. It's like
For
batching. It
sure.
allows you to batch those videos together.
For sure. And yeah, sometimes for me, I'll do that. Sometimes I won't. I guess it depends on what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll make a really good point in the video and I'll be like, wow, yeah,
To make
there we
more
go.
content out of that.
Yeah. Just make like 10 videos out of that.
Yeah. It seems you have a lot of different channels from Cobra Kai Kid to Mindfulness Kid. What makes you so? Oh, what makes you want to create this variety of content?
Great question. I think it's just because I have many different interests.
Mm-hmm.
As you mentioned, Cobra Kai Kid. Absolutely love Cobra Kai. I made a mindfulness channel called Mindfulness Kid, because I'm really, into like mental health discussions and being mindful, talking about life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have another channel called Drew's Music, where I write and perform original songs. Now, the Cobra Kai Kid channel is the main one as
Mm-hmm.
of right now. The other channels are there, and basically it's for me, it's for a balance, because I think having one channel is great, but because it's just so specific on Cobra Kai, for me, I have so many different interests that I'm really passionate about, like talking about other stuff too. So having the mindfulness, having the music channel, it's a good balance for me, and making
Yeah.
multiple content is something I enjoy doing.
I think that telling you this will be really nice for both of us. It'll give me a chance to express myself a little bit, but also give you a chance to realize that you did the right thing. My main channel, my main, I guess, niche is being like knowledge management for polymaths. Polymathy being that multi-expert. My whole premise gives me an excuse to do many different things on my main personal brand channel.
Yeah.
But even still, I was doing a injustice to my viewers and to my content by having it all in one place, because it is one of those things where I had this interview series on the main channel before I moved it to the Poly Tools channel. And both of those interview series started competing for attention. And the same thing goes for the gaming. I wanted to do a very generalist gamer, like widespread, tons of different games, tons of different types of content already on the gaming channel. Putting that on the main channel will just make it too vast, too wide. And by having all these different interests on different channels, you give it a chance to grow on its own. And you don't put all your eggs in one basket either, which is really important, especially with YouTube's weird policy sometimes.
For sure, for sure. And even though I have a big platform with the Cobra Kai Kid channel, that's Cobra Kai. I can't put music and mindfulness stuff on there. Sometimes I do, but if I do, I tie it into Cobra Kai. But
Yeah.
then there's certain things that I want to talk about or create that's outside of Cobra Kai, and that's why it's so beautiful that you can make other YouTube channels. And even if you're not doing it full time, just to have it there for fun, because I don't upload on those channels super frequently, because it's a lot to just manage one channel, yet alone 3 or 4 other ones. But for me, it's all about just having balance in life. And if there's something I want to talk about and I want to
Mm-hmm.
create, then I could go ahead and do it, and I won't be restricted.
Yeah. Whatever happened to that DrewTube channel? Because I saw that the link's broken now, so I'm not sure what happened with that.
Yeah, so I actually changed the name of it to Drew Reviews,
Okay.
because originally I had it Drew to, but then I was thinking I'm more reviewing content.
Mm-hmm.
So I changed it to Drew Reviews, where I talk about movies and I talk about shows. And yeah, I do that as it comes.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point where I was really, really making a lot of content on there, and then got busy with Cobra Kai again, had to focus on that. So it's all about trying different things and experimenting. But at the same time, I am really happy to have all these different channels. So when something comes out that I want to talk about, a movie or a show, boom,
Mhm.
Drew reviews. If I have an original song I want to post, Drew's music. If I want to talk about mindfulness, mindfulness kid. And Cobra Kai, if I want to talk about Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai Kid. And yeah, even if it's not, even if all the channels aren't like doing the same numbers wise, I think it's really fun to just make all this different content.
Yeah, the numbers really don't matter. It's one of those things where I was thinking about that when I was coming up with questions for you and stuff like that. For example, I made my channel a long time ago, but I knew from the beginning that polymathy as a topic is going to be a pretty slow grower. Knowledge management maybe a little bit more, a little faster, but for the most part, both of those niches are very slow. That's okay. The gaming channel, creator channel, much more likely to grow faster. You had a special positioning with your Cobra Kai Kid, or even just Karate Kid in general too, where like yes, they may not be on the same level as like Marvel or Star Wars. So if you make a Star Wars channel, it could go way faster growth because it's Star Wars, right?
For
But
sure.
Karate Kid is a very popular franchise. It's still a very well known franchise, and the type of content you are making too, the reactionary and review and just exploratory explainers, those are all different types of content for a video niche that's already very popular too. Yet a much more growth centric approach. With the other channels like music, it can be really hard to grow music channels depending on how you do it. And mindfulness is one of those things too, where it's a pretty crowded market. Even though you have great videos, it's harder to grow because it's already so crowded. So yes, they're going to be smaller than Cobra Kai Kid, but they're still important, and you're making good content on them. That's what matters, like you said.
For sure. And being okay with the fact if they don't grow, just being happy with what you're doing. And I'm happy
Yeah,
with the content that I'm making. So whether or not those channels grow in as big of a way Cobra Kai Kid
yeah.
grew, it's fine. I just enjoy doing it.
Well, who knows? Like, too, maybe the mindfulness channel will take off and just blow up even bigger than Cobra Kai Kid for some reason or another. You never know with YouTube sometimes.
You never know. It took me a bit to grow the Cobra Kai Kid, and I was doing YouTube for 10 years before, or not 10 years, like 5 years before Cobra Kai Kid, and those channels didn't blow up. So you never know. And I have
Yeah.
some stuff in the works that I'm working on, some stuff in the works that I'm working
Mhm.
on, and we'll see we'll see how it goes. I'm just
Yeah.
experimenting, just playing around. I'm 21. I'm
You're still
figuring it
still
out.
young, you know.
Still starting out. Still grateful to be young and in school.
Yeah.
So there's
Think
there's
about
a
when you
lot
get your
out there
time back from school too. Like when you finish school, how much time you'll have to be able to explore new things too.
for sure. And also, summer's coming up. I'm
Yeah.
ready. Summertime, movie time.
Yes. As a cinephile, I'm sure you're gonna have a blast.
As a what?
Cinephile, lover of movies.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Oh my god, I'm super excited for summer of movies, and especially the end of the year. We're gonna get some cool stuff. So
Yeah. I actually just went to the movie theater alone for the first time in ages to see Fall Guy because I was
I
really excited for that one.
what'd you think? I saw it too.
I liked it. I knew I was going to. I kept seeing all the TikTok ads and I'm like, okay, I need to go see this.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I don't think it was like the best movie ever, but it was a fun movie.
It was well
Um,
made too. Like it wasn't like
yeah,
the best as in like oh story wise it's pretty basic, but it was like they had some fun with some of the shots too. Like the split screen for example, they were definitely being very cheeky about
for sure, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Right on the head. Story wise,
it.
not like the most. Like, I mean, you can nitpick anything, but it was the stunts were incredible, and the best part about the film, no question, Ryan Gosling. That dude is
Hmm.
freaking phenomenal. He's brilliant.
Yes, and on top of that too, they were just like it was more of an excuse to do a lot of really cool stunts.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And there were some pretty cool stunts, freaking jumping on helicopters, all that. Wow.
One of the people I talked to on the podcast, Matt Lucas, he's worked for a lot of really great movies as a stunt coordinator, and
Mm.
he teaches martial arts. And so I actually need to get him on this show too. And it's one of the things where I think I need to talk to him about that movie because I think he probably would have had a field day with it. This is one of those things where being in that world, stunt people do not get enough recognition.
Oh,
Hence
definitely.
why this movie probably came out too.
Yeah, and I hope they do start to get more recognition. I know in Cobra Kai in particular. the stunts are a huge thing,
Yeah.
and now it's starting to get recognized more. They give awards out to, at the Emmys and different award shows for stunts in
Mhm.
particular. So hopefully it picks up more, because especially
Yeah.
stunt men. Stunt men
Mhm.
is important too. People talk about the stunt coordinators, but what about stunt doubles? People that
Yeah.
actually throw their bodies into freaking fire and get hit all the time. I mean, that's
Hit by a
impressive.
car and all that. Yeah.
Hit by a car, and it is funny how you had Ryan Gosling play a stuntman, and then he has stuntmen in the movie. But I think he did do a lot of stunts. I'm sure he did. I'm sure that was
I'm
something
pretty
he
sure
wanted to do.
at the end, like during the middle of the credits, they have a whole bunch of roll where they show the stunt people taking place of the actors. But there was a lot
Yeah.
of the scenes where I think Ryan was still doing a lot of stunts. He was like getting dragged by a car at one point, and it was Ryan, not a stunt double, but actually Ryan. Yeah.
Wow. He's just Ken.
Yeah, he's just kidding. Barbie was a good movie too. What stands out about Cobra Kai and Karate Kid now that you mentioned it that makes you so passionate about
Great question. So for me, I actually watched Cobra Kai first
it?
before Karate Kid. I think I had seen Karate Kid maybe when I was younger, or clips of it, but I had no real memory of it. Cobra
Mhm.
Kai was the first big memory that I had. And what resonated to me was the story of it, and seeing, the struggles of Johnny Lawrence from the Karate Kid. Even though I didn't know the Karate Kid that much, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool that they're bringing him back and the other guys back. And then
Yeah.
also the new characters. I was in high school at the time of watching Cobra Kai, and seeing Miguel and Sam, Daniel Russo's daughter, and Robbie, Johnny's son. I was really able to connect with the high school characters and some of
Because
the
you're the same
themes of.
age.
Exactly. I was the same age. Some of the themes of bullying and feeling like an outcast, and
Hmm.
Miguel going from a nerd to a epic karate fighter. I was like, this is such a cool story. It had 80s references. I love the 80s. The music was great. The fights were cool. The heart was there. There was the coolness of Cobra Kai, and also the balance of Miyagi-Do, and it really
Hmm.
just affected me. It just hit me so hard,
Hmm.
because I maybe there's one other show that I could see myself making a YouTube channel on, which is Lost. Absolutely love that show, but that show ended a while ago.
Yeah.
But with Cobra Kai, there was just something about it where it was like, I need to talk about this show. And since then, like, I haven't had that with another show, because not that there aren't other great shows, but it just goes to show how much Cobra Kai really affected me,
Right.
and how good it was, for me and for so many other people out there.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, of course, of course. You've seen Cobra Kai?
I've watched part of it. I'm not a big well versed into it. I'm going to watch more of it now because of you for sure.
Awesome.
I was trying to get around to watching more of it before the actual interview so I could prepare a little bit more, but I just like got so busy this week. But I
Yeah.
definitely know of it. I remember seeing like the remake of Karate Kid as a kid, and then also I'm pretty sure when I was younger seeing the original Karate Kid. And I need to go into Cobra Kai because it's just there was so much seasons into it that I was like I need to like actually sit down and watch this fully.
Yeah, it's a now they're on season 5, so it's a bit
Yeah.
of an investment of your time, but I think it's a good investment. I think it's
Yes.
worth it, and there's no rush.
Exactly.
It's always going to be on Netflix, so
Yeah.
whenever you can get to it, I think you'll enjoy it.
That's also the issue. I don't have Netflix at the moment too, but yeah.
Oh. Oh, cool.
What got you interested in making music covers?
Great question. You know, Wait, start that over. Start that over. I said great question the other time. I don't want to keep saying great question for every.
I mean, hey, it just makes me look good as an interviewer. I'm gonna keep it in this because what 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 made you so interested in making music covers though?
Great question. No, I'm kidding.
Keep it in, Darren.
Darren. So for me, I've loved music ever since I was young.
Yeah.
I started learning guitar at age 6, preschool
Mm.
time, 5, 6, and singing when I can talk pretty much. Not saying I was good at it as soon as I was able to talk, but I was singing or blabbing. And I learned piano in high school, self-taught in ukulele. Guitar, I did take lessons for like 10 years,
Mm.
maybe more. And I absolutely love music so much. It's been a big part of my life, even though my career trajectory, I don't know if it's going to be music focused. That would be something I'd love to continue doing. And I do make covers, but the main thing I do is original songs
Hmm.
because I write a ton of original songs. I probably have like over 50 original songs.
That's
Just
great.
thank you. Just life, something happens. I always say when something bad happens to me, it sucks, but the silver lining is I'm gonna
You
make a
can make a
great
song
song
out of
out of
it.
it. Yeah. Like if I have a really terrible experience, right? It can really
Mhm.
suck. The worse the experience, the better the song ultimately. And that's what I try to get out of it. So yeah, I absolutely love music, absolutely love songwriting, and I have a channel called Drew's Music where I post that, and I absolutely love it, and I want to evolve with it. So
Yeah.
I have a lot of ideas, and I'm really excited about that, and I know that's going to happen at some point. It's just a matter of when
Yeah.
and
Same here.
how, but timing is everything. Yeah.
One of my future phases is on music too. I have you mentioned like having bad moments a couple years ago. It wasn't last year, it was the year before. I had this timed romance that was not to be, and it was one of those things where it made me feel a lot. And I was like, this might have been a negative experience overall, but for the most part, I started writing some music. Like I've
Hmm.
written some stuff when I was younger, not as much as you obviously, but I did teach myself how to sing by going to karaoke religiously. So I
Nice.
knew how a good song goes. I need to learn play guitar like you though. Man, damn, that's cool. I
Thank.
remember seeing you play some guitar on the videos, but yeah, that's really young. Especially since you know multiple instruments too. That's good. But I started writing a song based on that romance, and it was one of those things where I had a bit of. There was a song by Frankie Valli, "Can't Take My Eyes Off You," having that kind of flow mixed with AJR's kind of
Ooh.
bumpy music, and then another artist, I think Kygo was another inspiration, kind of mixing those three styles into a song, which would be really unique. And I got most of the way through writing the actual song, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, chorus. I got most of the way through that, and I just needed to find more of the actual music behind it. I was figuring that out.
For
So
sure.
I get you.
That's so
I get you.
awesome. Yeah. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll write a verse and a chorus because they'll just come
Mhm.
right out. And then I'll wait like maybe a few months and then the the second verse and the second chorus and the bridge will come. It's I also have to be like in the feels for it. It's hard
Yeah.
for me to go to the piano and say, "Okay, Drew, let's write a song right now." I need to be experiencing or already have experienced some of the feelings of what I'm writing. Otherwise, it doesn't feel as authentic. And sometimes I'll write songs and I'm like, how did I do that?
Yeah.
It'll come out in like 5 minutes, the lyrics. And I'm like, what? Because other times it'll take me like, I once had this guitar melody, absolutely
Mhm.
loved it. It was like the most catchy thing I've written and it was so good. And I wrote something, and I was like, "This is terrible." I wrote the lyrics. I was like, "This is awful." Scratch completely. And then I remember falling in love, and I was like, "Yeah, there we go, there we go. I got the lyrics now." So I
A
wrote a.
little softy, Drew.
I know, I know. I love my love songs. I love
Me too.
love.
Me too.
You know.
That's what the song was I was writing, so I get it.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna say one of us will be, and that sun is coming out. Whew. One of us is going to be a famous art musician one day. We gotta whoever does it first has to bring the other one on to co-do a song, duet a song together.
Oh, for sure. We'll
Sound
do a
good?
collab. We'll do like
Yes.
a featuring. Like maybe
Yes.
like whoever the main artist is, the other one will come in there for like a rap on the bridge or something.
Sounds good. And then like whenever we'll switch, like you come on to like if I go first and you'll come on to me, and if you go first, I'll come on to you, and then we'll switch back to the other person that later on.
Oh,
It
for
was funny
sure.
because we met. Man, sorry, I'm talking about a future is bright, but whew. So we met at
That's
NAB,
good.
National Association of Broadcasting, right? And right after that, I was in LA, Studio City. So I was like this close to all the studios out there.
Yeah. By the way, I just have to say you're glowing. You're really glowing.
I would close the curtains, but this is almost like impressive amount of light.
It is, it is. But yeah, we did meet at NAB, and that was.
Oh.
I know we gotta get like the yellow like rays of light with angels singing.
Where's my sunglasses? Man, that would have been cool.
Those are just that's just like our filmmaker side of it. Now you're completely overexposed. I can't even. All I see is just a big white. I can't even see any facial expression or any.
You know what? Like, wow, it's actually getting brighter. I would close this, but this is really entertaining. I'm gonna keep it for a little bit. Let's see how long I can last without going blind.
Exactly. Like,
So
yeah.
yeah, no,
No,
you go.
what?
It's all good.
No, well, I will say I don't. It's hard for me to tell when you're about to talk or not because I can't see your mouth.
It's actually getting brighter right now, so I might actually have to close the curtain because I'm starting to sweat. This is almost like I'm having a little too much fun with this. Like I should probably get to the next question as a host. But yeah, okay. You know what? Pausing.
All right.
Now that I'm not being blinded by God's rays, can I? I'm gonna ask the next question here.
Yeah.
Can you share your favorite story that's happened to you as a content creator?
Favorite story that's happened to me as a content creator. So when I first started the channel, the
Mhm.
Cobra Kai Kid YouTube channel, one of the biggest projects that I was working on at the time was my recreation of the entire first episode of the show,
Huh.
meaning literally word for word, scene for scene. I played every character. It took over a year. I actually started this project before I made the channel.
Wow.
So it was literally just for fun. There was no intention of releasing it. It was just for me. And then I made the channel within that year. I was like, I guess I could post it.
Yeah.
So one of the most memorable things, and this was 5 years ago, so it's a while ago, but I just remember it really sticking because of it being the start. And this was just such a big moment in my YouTube journey,
Hmm.
was announcing this recreation, telling everybody it's going to come out, and then I see on Twitter Hayden Schlossberg, Cobra Kai creator, super excited for the Cobra Kai Kids recreation. I'm like, what the frick? The Cobra Kai creator is gonna watch my recreation, and then I see there's two other creators that post about it. I'm like, what the hell? And then
Yeah.
it comes out, and I have the creators posting about it. I have Miguel Diaz, played by Showa Manaduena from the cast, posting about it. I have Tanner Buchanan, who plays Robbie, liking my post. Then I go to conventions and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
talking to the cast members, and they're like, dude, that was the first video that I saw from yours. And that was awesome. It was like the video that
Hmm.
got the cast aware of me and got a lot of my viewers aware of me. And now it's at over 1 million views. So
That's
that
fantastic.
is the big story for me as a content creator. I mean, there's so many other ones, but that was just like one of the key core memories was
Yeah.
having that video. And that's gonna be something I like remember for the rest of my life. Just that experience of
Of
making it,
course.
releasing it, and I always try to remember, what went into that video, and it was just
Yeah.
passion, it was just love, it was just creativity, and that's what I try to take with everything. Because at the time, I was making it with no subscribers. I didn't have a YouTube channel, so that's
Yeah.
how I kind of try to make any of my creative videos. Obviously, I want to make them good, but it's more of a passion project rather than I have to do this, because I don't want to
Hmm.
do something that I have to do. And plus, fans are going to see right through that. If you're passionate about it, if you're into it, people watching will be into it too. So that's kind of how I try to go about it.
I love that. All right, Cobra Kai showrunners, we got to get Drew a cameo in the show. Come on now.
Yes, yes,
It's
come
long
on,
overdue.
guys, please. I'm here. Look. If they give me the call, I'm saying yes. Like I will drop
Yes.
anything that I gotta do to do that. Like no matter what it is. But that'd be a dream come true. Honestly, I've had dreams of that. I've had
Mm,
dreams that I was in the show, and they were great dreams. They were
yes.
great.
Well,
But
moving
thank
on.
you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it though. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. No. So this show talks about content repurposing, and content creation itself. Do you do much in the way of content repurposing?
What do
Do
you
you know
mean
what
by
it means per
content
se? Yeah.
repurposing?
So given the way you create content, you make a lot. You've been pretty prolific about it. I think you and I both kind of had that same eccentricity when it comes to how much content we make, right?
Mhm.
And I mean that in a good way because like you've produced so much. Now you could actually go back through and all those old interviews or maybe even a lot of your solo videos using things like Opus Clip or other repurposing tools. Take that and now you can make a whole bunch of blog posts. You could cut out those interviews, cut out the audio, and turn it into a podcast, right? And so I guess from someone who doesn't know much about content repurposing, I'm curious to think about it. That subject of repurposing one form and turning it into another. What does that mean to you?
For sure. I've done a bit of that where I've gone into past videos, especially videos that have done really well and that are really
Yeah.
long. I'll go back and I'll be like, this is such a good video from 2 years ago that has a lot of great parts to it. I could like split some stuff up,
Yeah.
and I've re-uploaded it. It is also a challenge when, yeah, I do have over 1,000 videos. So I have a lot of like cool content that I would like to reshare, but then there's also new stuff coming out. So it's a bit of a balance,
Definitely.
because I don't want to just be re-releasing older content. But then there is some good stuff back there that I can take and release. So it's a bit of a balance. And yeah, I have been doing that. And it is cool because it brings attention back to certain things that I've spent a lot of time on that I'm proud of, that I can kind of get more content from, especially because I've done a lot of live
Yeah.
streams, a lot of discussions, a ton of interviews, over like 50, 60 interviews, and like each interview will be like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
And there's so many great stories within those that I personally love. And if you're not going to listen to the whole interview, one actor might talk about how they got the role, and boom, that's a video right there. That's a 5-minute video. How did Martin Kove get the role of John Kreese in Karate Kid? That's a cool video.
I want to share with you a personal story about like I had the exact same situation where I actually did about 120 at the time of when I did this.
Wow.
Over the years, I love repurposing tools. Even before Opus came out, I was using like Recast Studio and other tools. A lot of them just it was too much work even using those tools to do a lot of it. And like you said, like you're producing so much content, you have a lot more coming out. It's hard to, as a solo creator, go ahead and make a lot of that repurposing. Maybe this might be something that you need to delegate. Like maybe you still want to do the editing yourself, but down the line you're like, I'm going to hire a VA to do a lot of this repurposing using whatever tool they prefer. But again, that's something that you might do for yourself. And what happened was I was doing a disservice to my show. I had all these amazing guests. I had like Ali Abdal on my show, for example, and he's a productivity
Hmm.
YouTuber. And the fact that I got him on my show for someone who's so small was kind of a big deal. But the thing is, a lot of people didn't know that he was on my show because I wasn't marketing. By the time, the creation process was great, I would get done with editing. Didn't have enough energy. I was getting kind of like micro burnout to the point where I didn't want to do the marketing part of things. And so I wasn't really sharing the show enough. And so I was doing a disservice. By the time I got around to repurposing all my interviews, 120 interviews, like you, 90 minutes, I got 1,600 usable clips from all those different, like short form clips, about 30 to 60 seconds. I'm still only halfway through posting all of them, but by
Oof.
posting
Wow.
them, I started getting thousands of views on my small channel every month, every week, even too, at some points. And that's why I was thinking, like, I wanted to share that with you because you have so much content yourself too.
I appreciate that. I'm definitely gonna have to look into that, but that's really cool. That's amazing. So is Opus Clip the main one that you use for that?
Yeah, for especially for shorts, they actually have. Like, I'm a partner with them, so I guess we have their feature where you can do 5 to 15 minute clips too. So those interviews where you're talking about those segments where they're talking about the story of how they became an actor or that kind of thing, they can help find those clips as well. And there's other tools out there when it comes to like repurposing into blog posts, for example, too. Maybe you want to do a newsletter or whatever down the line. But yeah, there's a lot of different tools in the market. Opus is what I prefer when it comes to short form stuff. But yeah,
Oh, for sure. I'm gonna have to look into that more.
yeah. So I asked you before the call, but I want to ask you on here. Have you practiced martial arts?
Yeah, so I am a certified pink belt. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
okay.
I wish I was a pink belt. No, I did karate when I was in kindergarten to first grade, maybe. And then the sensei said I was too good, so I couldn't compete anymore. Okay,
We
no,
gotta get
no.
you out of here.
Yeah, too
Oh,
good.
he's full of crap. Turn the call. End the call.
No, I guess like as a kid, your parents sign you up. I was doing soccer, I was doing baseball, I
Mhm.
was doing this. Um So it was cool doing karate. I remember enjoying it, but it just wasn't my life's passion. But it is cool now that I'm doing this channel. Like I have the picture of me when I was like, 7 years old in a gi. I'm like, it was meant to be,
Yeah.
even though I really didn't do anything with it. And I don't know if it would be cool. The thought of like knowing martial arts is really cool. Personally, a lot of people ask me like, why don't you do martial arts? You're the Cobra Kai Kid, but it's like, I mean, it's different. It's a show. It's kind of a
Yeah.
whole different thing. I am interested in like kickboxing or that sort of thing. So rather than like karate and going to a karate class and doing all of that stuff, just like learning to punch and kick, the simple things would be cool.
Yeah.
More like the Cobra Kai style, like of just just and skipping all that other
Hard
stuff.
work and
Skipping all the other work and stuff and just get
yeah.
right into the kicking and the punching.
Well, we might need you to do a little bit of training so you can go on the show, but other than
Ah,
that, it's
yeah,
all
yeah, yeah,
fine.
yeah. No, they'll just, well, that's the thing. They'll probably just get like a stunt. Like if I was on the show, they'd just get a stunt man to do a.
They'll get Ryan Gosling to be your stunt double.
They get Ryan Gosling, exactly. Ryan Gosling will be my stunt double.
Yes,
My
yes,
fall
yes.
guy.
I think that was a joke in one of the movies where they got someone who was like even more famous than the actor playing the character to be the stunt double for the
Oh
movie.
my god.
It was funny.
Wait,
I don't
wait,
remember
what?
what movie. I don't remember what movie it was, but I remember seeing that at some point. It was like
Funny.
it was some 25-year-old actor, and they got like Chris Hemsworth or someone like that to be like his stunt double. I was like, that doesn't make much sense, but yeah.
That's pretty
Oh, I
funny.
remember actually there was it might have been one of those spoof movies or parody movies, but basically they were doing like a motorcycle scene, and they were making fun of like Legally Blonde or something like that. And so
Mm.
the girl was like wearing a pink dress, getting on a motorcycle, and since they're doing some stunts, they actually got like some bulky, like muscular black dude to be the stunt double for this blonde, skinny college kid.
That's so
Uh,
funny.
yeah, this is funny.
That's hilarious. Wait, what is it? Legally Blonde? That's the movie they did it for?
No, it was like some spoof of it. Like I don't remember exactly what the
Oh,
movie. Yeah,
okay. I
but
gotta, I gotta see that. It's funny.
I'll find the clip and send it to you. But one last question here: what do you have coming down the line that you're looking forward to?
So, final season of Cobra Kai is coming out. So I've been working very hard on putting out content for that, and I know they're going to be splitting it into 3 parts, July to 2025, which usually they haven't done. Usually they just release it all at once. So as a content creator, it's better because it
They
gives
just
me
get
more
longer.
time. Yeah, it extends the period rather than just one day every year or 2 years.
And
Where
gives you
other
a chance
than
to get
that,
on the show.
literally, I mean, well, I know they're wrapping up filming soon, so like, look, I'm ready for the call. Call me
Sorry,
at
I
wait.
interrupted you there.
No, you're good. You're good. So yeah, it's very nice as a content creator. I've always said like, as a content creator, it would be nice if they did this thing with the show where they split it up, and that's what they're doing. So they heard my wish and they're doing it, which I'm happy about. And I also have some other short films that I'm making, personal films that I'm making that I would like to share on YouTube. Things that might be on a separate channel. I know I'm making a ton of channels, but I'm playing around with stuff and seeing what stands, what works, and especially seeing what works with audiences, but what works for me too. Because that's we were talking about burnout. That's how you avoid
Yeah.
burnout, is by making content that you're passionate about. If you're doing something that you're not passionate about, you can make a couple videos on it, and then after that you're gonna either get tired of it or the content's just gonna suffer. So you want to be
Yeah.
doing things that you're passionate about, and sometimes it takes some trial and error. So I'm making some really cool stuff right now that I can't really talk too much about now because I'm working on it, and I don't want to talk about it because it's very early stages, but
Right.
some fun skits and creative things outside of Cobra Kai and outside of anything I've done before, which is really fun. And I don't know when that's going to come out. I don't know if it's going to come out, but I'm working and I'm experimenting and I'm excited. But for now, I'm excited for that final season of Cobra Kai, and it should be really, really good. Whew.
I'm excited for you, especially since you got a lot ahead of you. I mean, even just down the line too, music on top of that. Where can people find you online with all these different channels? I figured it's a good point to shout them out.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I Ooh, let's go. Let's do it. Cobra Kai Kid on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, TikTok.
Yeah.
Drew Reviews on YouTube. Drew's Music on YouTube. Mindfulness Kid on YouTube. And I also
Come
have
on, come on.
I have two other ones. I have I have the DJ show. I have the DJ show, which I have a really fun Baby Yoda fan film that I made on there. 90,000 views. Whoo, shout out to that one. Love that one. And then I have a channel where I talk about Joshua Bassett, who is one of my favorite artists of all time. It's called Joshua Bassett Tree. Post on there every now and then whenever something comes out that I want to talk about, because I absolutely love his music and I love music in general. I got all of them, right?
I think so. I mean, I have most. I think I have at least 4 out of 5 of those links in the description here for you.
That's enough. That's enough.
Yeah. Well, this is Dustin PolyInnovator and Drew the Cobra Kai Kid on the Creator Spotlight by Poly Tools. Thank you for joining. Thanks for coming on.
Dustin, thank you so much for having me. It was so great talking to you. I really appreciate it. It was so great meeting you and Nav, and This was a fun chat. I can't wait to talk to you again.
Oh, I'll be happy to talk to you again. Cheers.